7 Doom tips and tricks to help you beat Doom 4's campaign, even on the hardest difficulty. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Chris with Blind Man's Bluff Gaming. Welcome back, and man, I hope you're doing awesome. If you're new to the channel, are you looking to stay up to date with the latest gaming content and tips and tricks videos? Go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Now, what is Doom 4 like? Doom 4 is a never stop moving, never reload first-person shooter. Basically, I'd compare it to, I was trying to think of, what is this game like? It's pretty much like playing the Berserker in Beast Mode in Gears of War 3, but you have guns. Basically, but it's a lot deeper than that. It has an interesting story, and it has a really good upgrade path in the game. You have challenges for upgrading your guns. You have challenges where you find skill points and earn skill points to upgrade your armor, and you also have a rune system where you have to complete certain trials, different trial rooms in the game to upgrade it. So there's a lot of depth to this game. And the cool thing too is that each gun has its own alt fire to it too, and they're completely different than the normal fire. It's a magnificent game. I remember back in the 90s playing the original Doom on an Atari Jaguar. And I'd be playing that, and I'd have like Pantera or Metallica playing at the same time, and it was it just was amazing. Well, this game has just an amazing soundtrack done by Nick Gordon. If you look him up on YouTube, you can check out his music, and he has some of his Doom tracks on there. It's just fantastic as you're playing. I remember even just kind of banging my head a little bit while I'm playing. It just was fantastic. Anyways, let's get to those tips. Tip number 1, learn to read that map. Now in Doom, you're going to do some backtracking because you're going to run into locked doors, and you're going to have to find different secret passages. And a real big thing about learning that map is that you'll be able to find those trial doors, and there's secret rooms where you can find extra goodies. Now, as far as this goes, the highest priority you're going to have is you're going to need to find that Argent Energy and make sure you pick those up in each level. Tip number 2, when you enter a new area, look for the power-ups. There's going to be certain rooms in Doom 4 where they're just going to lock you in this area, and they're going to just throw wave after wave of enemies, and each wave is progressively stronger. So by the end, you're going to get these freaking huge Baron dudes and whatever the bull demons are. I forgot what they're called, but they're going to be flying at you. It's going to be total chaos. Well, what I like to do is I would find where those power-ups were, and I would wait towards the end where the big guys come in so you can grab those power-ups. And those power-ups make a huge difference, so you should be able to cut through those bigger guys a lot easier. Doom tip number 3, use the siphon grenades to keep your health full. Now, you can refill your health by glory killing an enemy. Basically, you grab them and tear them apart, which is fine, but later on in the game, there's so many enemies, and they're just flying at you from every direction that it's really hard to slow down and get one of those. So the siphon grenades, what they do is you just throw them down, there's a radial effect on them, and they'll siphon the health off of whatever's in that grenade. Kill wise, it probably isn't as efficient as a regular grenade, but using them will keep your health stocked up, and especially against the boss waves and stuff like that, it can be a real help. Now, along with that, I would highly recommend upgrading your equipment skill slot on your Kratos armor, and this will allow you to have 2 siphon grenades. Now, you don't need to pick up grenades to throw grenades, and which is weird, but you don't. They'll regen over time, but by upgrading that equipment slot, you'll be able to have more grenades, and you'll pretty much be able to throw them at will, which you're going to need. Doom tip number 4, make sure you're leveling up your guns. Now each gun has its own challenges. Now one thing I really like to do, how I did it is, I would have one gun that I really like to use, that it was kind of like my go-to gun, basically the double barrel shotgun, and I would have that thing leveled up, and then I would have a secondary gun that I would be leveling up at the same time. So if I got in trouble, I'd switch to my really good gun, and then I would level up the weaker gun if I was, facing weaker enemies. Now here's a really good tip with that. Don't waste any of your points upgrading the pistol. I did this at the beginning of the game when I first started playing, and it's total junk. I mean, you can charge your charge shot with it a lot faster, but it's just not worth it. Doom tip number 4, save your chainsaw. Now when the chainsaw is full, you only get 3 kills with it before it's empty. And the thing about the chainsaw is, with a chainsaw kill, you completely refill all your ammo. So you only want to use it when you really need it, but you can also use it to get a one-shot kill on bigger enemies. Doom tip number 5, use weapon combos. Learn to swap your guns. Now, I really like plasma rifles, secondary fire. It shoots like a giant ball of energy, but it stuns everything around it for a few seconds. I like to use that with another weapon, say like the double barrel shotgun or even rocket launcher, and it works really well just to get them stationary. It also works really well if you stun them, just to throw a couple siphon grenades on them, especially if they're big guys. It'll weaken them enough for you to kill them with a rocket or something like that. Now towards the end of the game, one of my favorite combos was to use the gauze rifle with the charge shot. And if you haven't used it yet, you basically you sit in one spot and you charge up for it seems like ever, but maybe 3 seconds, and it's super powerful. But the issue there is, one, you're stationary, but the other thing is that it takes, I don't know, 5-10 seconds for that to recharge. So what I like to do is I'd fire one of those off, switch to my shotgun, and then a few shots switch back to the gauze rifle again, and it's super powerful. Doom tip number 6. After entering a rune trial, you can go back and redo it from the menus, so you don't have to keep grinding on it and grinding on it and grinding on it until you beat it. Now here's another tip for this, and this is for any game where you get stuck. One tip that I use is, if I get stuck on a boss fight, or like in here, stuck on a rune trial, what I'll do is I'll just set the game down for a couple hours or even a day, and then when I come back, I try and do it the first thing, and what you'll find is you'll just be able to do it. It'd be like, why was this so hard? Well, the reason it was so hard is because you had fatigue. Doom tip number 7. If you have an Xbox One Elite controller, set one paddle to jump and another paddle to switch weapons. I also like to have a third paddle on the chainsaw, which was really nice. I would say the biggest tip I can give you guys is learn to switch those weapons, because if you can find the right combo for you, you can really do a lot of damage. If you are looking to stay up to date with the latest gaming content and the latest gaming tips and tricks videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Until next time guys, this is Chris. Have an awesome one.